Any recent dreams you can remember?
I had this dream where I was sitting on the toilet, and then I was getting smaller and smaller, and then I fell in.
Were you ever concerned about the idea of being that much on camera, as if it were something that might affect the process of making your film, or enhancing or detracting from it?
You mean like because it's harder to direct when you're on camera, you mean?
And it's harder to be unself-conscious when you're on camera.
Well, I've been making autobiographical films for 15 years, so I'm pretty used to it. It's hard to direct when you're acting. It's hard to act when you're directing, rather.
How much can you act or not act when it's about you?
That's a really tricky thing. I mean, you're always kind of acting, like I'm kind of acting now and so are you, kind of. But we're also kind of not acting, right?
Does that mean that you've made yourself so much of an act that the line, the separation is no longer there?
No, I think everybody's acting all the time in daily life. And there's a certain level at which that's unconscious, and you just kind of don't even realize what you're doing. And there's a certain level that is conscious, where you're trying to be a certain way. Like, sometimes like I try to have, like, dignity, right? Like, and I try not to be, like, silly, right? But sometimes you're silly anyway, and you lack dignity without knowing it, or whatever. But there's always like an amount that's unconscious and an amount that's conscious. And it's just a question of degree and where. And I think when you're acting, the same thing is going on.
So, do you ever worry about the loss of dignity and the idea that you're making films about yourself, or do you see that it's sort of? I mean, somebody's compared this film as sort of a low-rent Woody Allen, or not? Or do you feel that makes it less or more of an issue for you?
Well, David Lynch once said that every really good film should have an embarrassing moment in it. And I think that's true. Like, I mean, I try to make films that are nothing but embarrassing moments. So I don't try to preserve my dignity in my films, just in my daily personal life.
I need you, Mommy! I need you, Mommy!
People don't realize how shy I am because of my movies. But so they're surprised when I'm so shy. The movies show people, like, who I am with my hair down, so to speak.
Do you feel that making these movies age you in some way, or do you like the idea of having your aging documented on film?
I like having my aging documented on film, and I would actually love to document my death as well.
Now that could be a trick. Would you put a camera inside the coffin?
I would probably. Oh, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
What's the trickiest process? Dealing with getting the actors to play the parts in the film, or really like sort of drawing from the real people to getting the actors to capture that and interpret it?
God, they're both really hard. It was really hard to persuade people to be in the movie, and it was really hard to get them to act like the real people.
Yeah, the irony of the movie is that it's rather chaste, isn't it?
Yeah, I tried to make it as chaste as I could.
Oh, so you didn't want it to titillate? I thought it could have had a little more titillation, you know.
I'm anti-titillation.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
How could you be anti? Oh, because now that you've sort of a reformed sex addict.
Yeah.
So now what do you do about titillation for yourself?
I'm against it.
Did you find that your actors were at all confessional, or did you find that as to be a part of the process to make them fit better as the actors?
The actors became confessional after they saw the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did you find out about some of the actors?
Well, it just opens people. Have you seen the film?
Of course.
The actors were all very worried about how they would come off, and they all were a little paranoid and a little distrustful, and it's really the trick was to get their trust, which was hard. But once they saw it, they were like really happy and grateful and open, and they just wanted to talk about it, and it just opens them up.
Was there ever a consideration of having any of the real people play themselves in the film?
Yeah, that was my first idea, but they all said no.
Oh, they all said no.
My friend Greg is in the film. He played himself, but my exes didn't want to do it.
Did you have to get rights from all of them for you to show the footage, and did some of them refuse?
Yeah, one of them refused. Well, her husband threatened to sue me.
Really?
Yeah, so I had to actually take all that footage out and replace it.
Now, one of the criticisms that I've seen of the film was that they felt that sometimes it was a little bit self-indulgent. Were you worried about it, or was that part of what you felt was a virtue?
I don't think the film is self-indulgent at all, because the whole film was made for a viewer and with the viewer in mind. I mean, I wasn't making it for myself. If I was making it for myself, I would have made it very differently. The person who wrote that review is Jay Carr, who is, I think, a real idiot, and I think he's just like a really old man who's kind of senile. And he wrote a really nasty review of one of my previous films, where he called me a twerp. I think people like Jay Carr, they see it like on a DVD in their old age home or something, and they don't get the humor at all. Like, they have no sense of humor, or they have a really like antiquated sense of humor, like from the 20s or something. But like, if they would watch it in the theater with other people, they would see that people are laughing throughout. I mean, I think a good film is one that will create lots of different responses as opposed to just one, which is like what the Hollywood films are all doing. They're trying to get one simple response, but like, I think a really good film like creates multiple responses. Mm-hmm. And if you do anything that's kind of different, it's going to be open to interpretation.
Oh, it's Greg. It's Greg on the phone. Oh, actually, we should have Greg say hello.
The truth about my relationship with Caveh, we're good friends. He actually has confessed in the past that he wasn't sure we'd be friends at the start. We started at film school together, but pretty much by the end of the first year, we've been working together ever since. So.
Can I go back a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
The publicist is now calling to get us downstairs to go to the next interview.
I'm right there. Bye.
Were you going to walk over there, or were you going to take a car?
I don't know. They just tell me what to do. Where's my glasses?